Hey everyone, Trish Celeste here, and I'm here with my cousin and my fellow lightworker Starseed, Serena Dale, and we thought we would come on and do a spring equinox video just to touch base and say hello to everyone, send out some blessings, and maybe just kind of get everybody thinking about what this time of year, what the spring equinox brings in. Serena, welcome. How are you? Happy spring
Alo-
equinox.
Aloha, yes.
Aloha.
Happy spring equinox. And also, we're heading also to a new moon the following day.
Yes.
So that is pretty
Woo-hoo.
exciting. Some powerful times. So I'm
That's right.
happy to be here and do a little chat.
Giving your aloha energy. Serena's in Hawaii. We should also be so lucky. I am in the beautiful Montana, where actually it's in the 40s, and all of that water you see is coming, it's snow melting off the roof. So I'm actually, you can't see, there's a lake behind me because it looks like a winter wonderland, but it's perfect. It is the best spring day. It's starting to melt. You're starting to see the green, the sun's out a little bit. So I'm just going, oh, this winter will end. Yes.
New beginnings.
That's
Yes,
right. And that's what spring is, right? It's a total new beginning.
it is. And with this spring equinox and also this new moon, it is also the new year, the astrological new year. So we have this is a pretty powerful spring equinox and new moon. So some really great new beginning transformation energy happening for us.
And not just for this year, right? Doesn't it seem like this is a big cycle in our universe, even restarting?
Yes,
So
I
the
think it's like
cosmic rebirth.
yeah, I believe it's like the next 9 years. Not 100% sure if it was nine, but that's what came in my head. It was nine
There you
years
go.
cycle,
Nine.
but
That's
it
a good number.
might
That's my
not
life
actually
theme
be
number.
exactly nine, but it is a big cycle. Like we were coming to closure of the last nine, and I think we could go into the next. So.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff are you working on then with this big spring equinox and the new moon coming in? What's coming forward for you, healing soul work wise?
Yeah, for me, I really think, I mean, it perfectly matches with, our play with Mother Nature and with gardening. So gardening is one of my medicines, being out there, getting my hands dirty. And when we're prepping a garden in the spring, we're doing a lot of remending. We're looking, we're doing analysis of our soil. We're kind of, what does it need? What don't we need? What do we need to let go of, clear out, get rid of? Release and say thank you. That served us well from the garden, for last year, but now we're going to move forward to change it up for this season. And then you're thinking, how are we going to amend the soil? So what do we need to add into it? So I really just love that, getting in
Oh, we froze that.
nature of I think that all comes together and then we put that into ourselves and we can transform ourselves through the same kind of actions. And so for me, it's really looking at like, okay, this has been, what's kind of been going on for this last year, and what am I going to work on thanking and releasing, and then what do I want to bring in as the actions of this next new beginnings? Because it really is, this equinox is about like new beginnings. Let's get us ready to kind of pop out of that soil, right? Like and I think it's going to be a good pop. We're going to have a good bloom this year. Is kind of how I feel.
Yes, I so agree 100%. It's so, that's why spirituality by seasons is so important because really we live with nature. When we're in tune with nature, we're perfectly in sync with what is up for us too. And you are such a plant goddess with your medicine, with growing all of the beautiful plants, and you talk to them and you nurture them and love them and use crystals and really empower them. And that's so beautiful. And it is a metaphor for our own lives. If we can take the time to nurture ourselves in that same way, what is it that we are that we haven't gotten rid of in the fall when that's the letting go time, and we haven't gotten rid of in the winter when that's the hibernation, really let go time, so we can start to make the seeds of the soil in our own gardens of our lives ready to plant new seeds of intention. If we haven't finished that work, then we've got that catch up work to do right here at the beginning of spring. And we got this big boost from the equinox and the new moon really helping us just let go of that old stuff so we can get to tilling the soil of our own field of dreams and planting those seeds of intention. And maybe we don't know what that is yet, right? Maybe we have to get rid of that old to see what everything looks like and let the downloads come of what we're planting. Do you find that's true for you?
I do, and I like that you brought up the, the hibernation, because, what do animals and even as people, we hibernate in the winter, right? What do
Mhm.
we need? We need to nourish ourselves. We need to find those gems, those things that really, really bring our body, both our physical body, our mental, and then our spiritual body, that nourishment, that ooey gooey, substance that's going to help us really transform, help us really hit that growth and those goals and those intentions that we want. And in doing that, I think, it's bringing in those pieces like that, self-care, right? Doing those things that find you joy, right? Like, let's get out there, do what brings you joy, what's your passion, and that's good medicine. That's going to help us make those transitions and those pieces, and then figuring out that routine, those practices. I think part of this season is also like figuring out what does your soul need, what does your soul want, what is your soul purpose, and then finding those little
Oop, you're freezing up again. You're back in winter hibernation mode.
vibrate and bring
Oh, you're
forth,
back.
right?
You just froze. I was teasing that you went to hibernation mode, but now it's spring and you're back.
Yes.
Yeah, I so agree. And maybe we don't know what our soul purpose is. A lot of people don't. And that's part of the journey, is discovering that. So when you're letting go of that old stuff and you're letting the downloads come in about what's next, that is the key. Synchronicity is the key of how it's basically the guide and the map that the universe teaches us what our path is. Synchronicity is what teaches us. So what's coming into our selective perception for interests? What's catching our attention? Is it bright colors? Is it exercise, movement? Is it breath? Is it learning more about the spirit or picking up a new instrument? Is it writing? There's so many new seeds starting to blossom in all of us. And what is catching your attention? If you don't know what your life purpose is, listen to yourself. And that's meditation, that's walks in nature, that's prayer. It's just listening so that you get the little clues and then noticing what synchronicity is bringing you. Because if you don't have the deep knowing of your soul purpose, the universe is whispering it to you all the time through synchronicity. So what are your noticing? And that is so strong in this time that we're starting right now, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that piece of like trusting that intuition, that feeling that you get, like what really feels good as you're drawn to. What do you keep getting drawn to? What do you keep spending your time on? What the things that you dread doing? Those are probably not your sole purpose, right? Like those things. I mean, there's going to be mundane tasks that have to be done that are just part of getting life moving forward. But
Right.
as far as like thinking of the sole purpose, like um, if you dread it, getting up to do that every day, that's probably not the piece you're supposed to do. So then think of those things that you really love. Like, I love to garden. So I know that part of my soul purpose is to do things to help Mother Earth heal, and to help people have good, healthy food and beautiful things to look at, right? Like, so,
Yes.
you know, I love to dance. So dancing is
Yes.
something that I know that's a part of something that brings me joy. So somehow that's going to be part of that movement, is going to be part of my soul purpose. So it's like really listening to your body, and allowing and accepting, and not letting go of that that storyboard that we got told that we have to fit in this
Right.
square box, that you do this and this, and that's how you move forward, right?
Right.
No, listen to your body, listen to those messages that are coming forward all the time, sometimes really subtly, sometimes really hard like a hammer, right?
Yeah, or a 2 by 4 from the mystery, as one of my
Yeah.
teachers used to say. Right, right, right. Yes,
Absolutely.
it's so true, right? Like letting go of that need to have approval of others and the voices of other people's heads in that what you think you should be doing. Letting go of that. And like you said, if you dread doing these things, maybe they're not exactly for you. For instance, if this is the time of really planting the seeds of intention, and you have the same seeds you feel like you plant every single year at this time, but they're not growing, you should look at those and say, okay, well, why do I want to plant this intention? And when you start asking why, just start doing like a small child is. Let the inner child come out and ask, okay, I want to lose weight. We all have that intention often, or I want to gain weight or muscle or whatever it is, body stuff. If that same intention comes through year after year after year, how about instead of just planting that seed generally, like lose weight, go, well, why? Oh, oh, well, so I feel stronger. So I have more energy. Okay. So I have more wellness. Like keep asking why until you get to the core of a seed of what that is. And that's going to help you. Then synchronicity comes in with all the clues. Maybe you hear about a Zumba class. Maybe you hear about yoga. Maybe you hear about this breathing technique that oxygenates the bloods, the blood and the muscle and really helps you to, bring in that breath of life, which is air, which is of the spring. Spring is about air, and air is like the seeds. It's air is life. That's what oxygenate everything. It's all about. There's people who are they say are the biggest gurus who can just breathe air and survive on that. We're not there yet, but
That's
air, you at
cool.
least have to have air in this world, right? So maybe your intentions need to be re-looked at, dusted off, and you need to shapeshift them or completely let them go and ask your heart. Get out of the brain, go down and ask your heart, what do I really what is it I really want to plant in my garden? What is it? Not because anybody told me I need to or I should or the voice of our teachers or parents or friends or none of that. Let all of that go. Kick that to the curb with all of the stuff that, no longer serves your highest good. What does your heart want to plant into your garden right now in this space?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And we are really supported in that piece right now. I mean, we've got the spring equinox, we've got the new moon, we're in the sign of Aries, which is like fire, courage to just take those steps, really look at those things that, we need to like, go of those shadow pieces, and then that courage and those actions to move forward. So like this is some really good timing for doing this work. So yeah.
And the world is crazy. We always say that. But you know
Mhm.
what? I think centuries and centuries ago, they always said, oh, the world is crazy. I think we've used that as an excuse to not, step into our dreams, not face our fears or obstacles or whatever it is that's holding us back. Let's not make the world being a crazy place be an excuse for us. We can flourish. Look at those plants that grow up in the middle of like a paved road and there's this lonely, beautiful flower just blooming and blossoming. We can bloom and blossom anywhere in any condition. So it's what happens to make that happen. We need a little sunlight. We need a little rain. We need just a little something. How can we give ourselves what we need? How can we give that sunshine, that nature, going out into nature, that touching base with our soul, that we can connect to that energy where we can literally flourish, bloom, grow, and blossom in any conditions. That's not an excuse any longer. Like, yes, it's a factor, but how can we overcome that obstacle and step into blooming anyway, blooming in spite of the craziness of the world, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's that piece of finding the joy and the gratitude in the chaos, right? Like
Gratitude, yes,
in the middle
huge.
of every, chaotic natural disaster, there are pieces of beauty, right? Like there are things that come through that are so beautiful. The nature of people coming together, the way, Mother Earth heals herself and regenerates after a huge fire, right? Like, I mean, there's just, you find those little pieces of those beauty and you focus on that. And then with that, you take those steps forward and move towards what your heart is calling you to do. I mean, that's
Yes.
that's for me. I mean, I think, thinking of the flower blooming it through what, I mean, the lotus, man, the lotus grows in mud. It's like it starts its beginning in as a tiny little seed in the depths of earth, in this mucky, muddy pond, right? Like that's where it grows. What's down there? Like, how is it finding the light? It finds it within itself. It gets the energy. I mean, the lotus rhizome is all about energy. It's this rhizome of just pure energy, and it's down in the mucky muck, and it finds its way. And then, oh my gosh, those glorious blooms are just like, wow. So we're going into that season, right? Lotus season. I just was working on repotting my lotuses the other day, and I'm like, oh, they're so inspiring. I mean, just the way they begin, but then, oh, the beauty as they shine, and they shine. They've got that very short bloom, right? So you
Hmm.
just enjoy what you got.
Yeah, you appreciate it while you have it. That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I've got a little lotus tattoo right here. It's too chilly
Oh.
out here in Montana. I would show you, but I'm totally with you. And while we're talking about that, we can't go into the spring without thinking about the winged ones and wind, because the season of spring is all about the winged ones. And so we just think of the eagle who flies the highest and sees the farthest. And we think of the hawk, who the hawk always carries the new dream and the new vision. And then you just have to look around here in northwest. It's the robin. The robins will start to come out and they'll start to, look for the worms, and they have like the big bellies because they're gonna have their babies. And actually, this is so awesome because this is not a winged one, but I went and picked up some breakfast for my family this morning, and there were a bunch of little bunnies and a couple of papa, who knows what the combination was of bunnies there that just came out, and there was a black one and there was a white one, and I was like, oh, that's like the dichotomy of the whole world of, it's like the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine, and all these little new babies and new beginnings. And these are the signposts. These are those synchronicities that spirit starts to show you. And you just think of them. You think of all of these things in nature. And when you need to draw your inspiration for being that lotus, to get out of the mud, to be the phoenix that rises from the ashes, draw them from these beautiful examples in nature all around us. It is why we were born on this planet to co basically, we were granted the wonderful, amazing gift of being able to have our spirits in a body on this earth with Mother Earth, who she teaches us. She's our mama. So when we need some inspiration or answers, we'll go to our mama and we ask what it is that we need, and then we listen, right?
Absolutely. And then we listen to our highest version of ourselves too. Like, right, it has a piece. Source is so amazing. It's there. It's part of us. It's like we just need to stop and be still for a moment and tap in. Say,
Yes.
I'm here, source, spirit, God, higher self, whatever speaks to you. What do I need to know? What
Yes.
steps? And then taking those steps, one of the things that, like I'm, working on becoming more physically active, right? Like, so that's one of my kind of pieces as I'm renewing. And in that, like each of those little steps, like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to take this next step, or I don't want to do another 10 minutes on this bike. But I'm like, okay, so make it into a prayer. So, okay, hard. As I take this next step up this mountain, I'm nourishing each cell in my body. My body's remembering, so like using those little pieces as a meditation, as a prayer to help us bring forth those renewals. I find that to be helpful for myself when I'm kind of making those transformations that I've been trying for years to do, and have been hard. So I like creating it into those little prayers of and then it's like taking it out of the mind and it's into the body and the spirit, feeling it versus the dreading it that I get in my mind. That stupid hamster wheel in our mind, right? Like it can just
You're right.
go and go and go, and you're like, oh, be quiet. Yeah, be quiet here, be open and loud here, right?
And listen. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely. I love that. Yeah. And that's the thing too, is remembering to listen. And if you don't know how to hear the voice of your own heart or the voice of spirit, then it's practice like anything else. Practice getting quiet and listening. Move, dance, sing, walks in nature. People drum, guided meditations. Sometimes you don't know what the voice of wisdom of yourself is. So really start practicing about the thoughts in your head. Practice the mindfulness. Catch those thoughts that are in your brain and say, wait, is this the ego with worry or chatter? Or is this an idea that is of inspiration, inspire, of breath, of illumination? That, oh yeah, start to pay attention to your own self to know how to listen and hear what your higher self or spirit of the universe is trying to tell you. And that is a practice thing. You just have to keep doing it until you find what works for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me too. I'm so with you, and I'm really excited about. It's been a long winter, and I know winter is beautiful, and there's all kinds of wonderful blessings. But I'm ready to thaw those parts that are ready to get out there and start to be nourished and just soak up the sun and start to grow. For me, it's music and writing and doing more community work and reaching out with some of my gifts and talents to help others, maybe a little spiritual teachings and things like that. And I'm ready. The time is now. So
I'm too. I'm ready to commit to each day doing, three things that nourish my garden, right? Like,
Hmm.
find those three things that really nourish you. And it can be different things every day. Like, so today I'm going to play in the dirt. I'm going to, have a great, wonderful chat with another goddess, right? Like that's a good thing that's
Yes.
nourishing, I'm going to eat some good healthy food that I grew, right? So like finding those things each day. I'm going to play with a child. I'm going to go and visit an old friend, or go do some service work. So find those things that bring that nourishment each day, and then that helps tend the garden. So like that's my goal. Like I'm going to keep each day making those at least three things. I'm going to take three things at least each day to nourish and bring forth this garden as it's blooming. So,
Oh, I love that. And that's the key, right? We all have these tools, but we have to use them. We have to remember to use them. And like you talked about, making life a prayer, really. And that really speaks to my heart and my soul. That's such a calling for me, is a living spirit. And so blessing the water I'm going to drink, and blessing the food I'm going to ingest, and making these things rituals for myself um, that I hold myself as sacred, making myself a sacred vessel, that the temple that holds my soul on this planet. That's the viewpoint I'm trying to come through and reminding myself about in the spring, so that yeah, we all get tired and want to just like chill out, and we'll do it later. But just find whatever tools that it is that's going to inspire you to take the actions now. Maybe even just one thing. This morning, I just heard someone saying a statistic that if you write down your goals, you're 42% more likely to achieve them. And I'm not usually a journaler, but when I do it, wow, it is transformational. So if maybe your medicine is you do something you love, and then you just commit to writing for 30 seconds that day, a couple of intentions, whatever you can do, and then congratulating yourself for it, and keep coming back, right? Being proud of
yeah,
whatever it is you do, not judging what you don't do.
yeah.
That's part of the ticket, I think.
And and from someone like, I went through recently, I've been a pretty, making some life transitions, and sometimes you get frozen, right? You feel frozen, like you're stuck in the frozen part of winter, and how does how do you begin? So how do you take those steps? And it doesn't have to be this major huge thing. It can just be something small. So it's just like noticing where your energy comes, where your passions are, and then taking little steps, and then building from that step. Today is tomorrow I'm going to add another step, and next thing you know, you have a routine, right? You have a you're recreating the old patterns of being frozen into a new pattern of action, of tending to yourself and tending to your soul. And then when we tend to ourselves, then we get to have the energy and passion to tend to others, to our universe, to
Yes.
create that highest vibration and good for all that we're doing, right?
Yeah. Fill your own well before you're filling other people's. So you have that reserve always. You're so right. And for me, I can tend to be an all or nothing personality type sometimes. So I'm always working towards the middle for balance, and reminding myself that this is spring. This is about clearing out the dust of the old, and getting ready the earth for new seeds, and starting to plant the seeds. And summer is about action and manifesting, and a lot of these things. So I'm reminding myself, you don't have to do it all right now. You get started right now. But you take action, you plant the seeds, and then you start to nurture them and let them grow. And then I stop my mind from seeing,
Little
too far
stretch.
ahead. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
coming out of hibernation. We gotta do, we gotta
I love it. Yeah.
stretch. We're moving a little slow. We have to, nourish. Kind of
Yeah.
see where we want to go. We're kind of looking at our landscape. Okay, what's gonna be next? Yeah, yeah,
Totally. Well, thank you so much, Serena, for this talk. It's really inspired me um, to start looking at some of the things I want to start planting, and nourishing my body more, and my life and my soul and spirit. And I'm just so glad to be talking with you. You're so
yeah.
wise and wonderful. Bless your
I
sweetheart.
right back at you, my dear. And I think as we nourish, think about, how Mother Earth and the nature can bring that in. Do a little sunbathing, even if it's, even if you're bundled up, getting a little of that sun,
Hmm.
moon bathing, and as we get closer to the full moon. And then there's amazing spring herbs that coming out. So, thinking about what kind of herbal teas you can bring in that help support this time of the year. You
Yes,
know, yeah, dandelion tea and some nettles are great like spring teas that we can think about, and talk to your local herbologist to or acupuncturist or somebody to help kind of guide you that way. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of good medicine out there for those pieces. Yeah.
totally. And doing some of that body work. This is a good time. Spring is a great time for doing some of that, like you talked about acupuncture and maybe some massage or that body work that really helps to nourish the physical body too, so that you have the ability to plant all those seeds and have the energy to follow them through.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. Thanks for doing this. Happy
Yeah.
spring.
Happy spring, yes. And I look forward to it. Hopefully we'll do another chat
Yeah,
soon.
let's do this
And
regularly. It would be
we
wonderful.
have we actually have a double new moon this month. So we have another new moon coming up. So we have a new moon on tomorrow, the 21st, but then we also have a new moon on the 19th of April, which is also we also have a solar eclipse. So some other magical stuff happening this during this Aries season. So yeah.
Yes. And
Uh,
Aries can be intense. So these things we really do have to do some excellent self-care during these times because the energy comes in fast for transformation as a little dandelion is floating by me. That's so funny.
aw,
So taking the time to nourish ourselves and self-care while we're doing all this stuff, I think is really important.
yes, wonderful.
Yay. Well, I'll talk with you soon. We'll do this regularly.
Yes.
If anybody wants to get in touch with me, I do intuitive readings and sessions, and we'll be doing a spring themed spiritual class. Chakrabooth.com is my website, and Serena's going to be bringing some offerings forward here soon. So for now, I'll bring her on, and then maybe she'll have a place where you can contact her in the future. She makes beautiful plant medicine and different kinds of things. So um, we'll get her to put a little Etsy store up or something. All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon, my dear. Goodbye,
Love ya.
everyone.
Take care.